Good morning and welcome to the April DAC Monthly Webcast. I'm Jennifer Stafford, the Director in the Division of Assessment and Accountability Support, and we're so excited to be here with you today. We have some exciting updates for you, and we have a great crew here that's going to bring us updates. First of all, we'll have Kristen with us to bring ACT reporting updates. We have alternate Kentucky Summative Assessment updates that Kristen will also bring you. We have Chris Williams here with us to bring both SDRR and Access updates. Lisa Jett is also with us to bring us K-Screen training. And we'll finish out with Melissa Chandler with Kentucky Summative Assessment and the site visits that we do on a regular basis. Shara Savage is going to take your questions. So if you have questions, email dacinfo@education.ky.gov. Before I turn it over to Kristen with ACT reporting, I just want to say thanks to everyone for the efforts on the ACT administration. It went quite well for the spring administration, thanks to all the good efforts from our district assessment coordinators, our building assessment coordinators, and the test supervisors for ACT. So those test coordinators put a lot of effort and energy into that. And we have some exciting updates for ACT. I think Kristen's going to share some numbers with us. So we've done really great work across the Commonwealth. So thanks to you for doing that. Kristen, I'll turn it over to you at this time.
Thank you, Jennifer. Good morning, everyone. As Jennifer said, my name is Kristen Roseberry, and I'm a program consultant in the Office of Assessment and Accountability. I just want to start off by echoing what Jennifer said and say thank you for all that you've done to make the spring 2024 junior administration a success. As of the end of the makeup window, over 46,000 ACT tests were completed online with very few minor issues. And so that would not be possible without all the hard work that you do every day. So again, I just want to say thank you for that. When we talk about the reporting that is coming up next, with the spring 2024 state ACT administration now concluded, we just want to make sure that school and districts testing staff have access to the data and reports from this spring administration. And so as detailed in the score report scheduled, which is linked on this slide, specific deliverables will be available 3 to 8 weeks after online exams are submitted for scoring, or the receipt of the paper answer documents for scoring. And so ACT will email school and district staff when final student level data files or aggregate reports or any non-college reportable score notification letters are available. The final data and reports will be available no later than May 20th. And so materials are processed as they are received, and scores are not held until the entire school is processed. So all students from a single school or district may not receive their scores simultaneously. This data is not embargoed. But we do want to ask that allow the full 8 weeks to pass before contacting ACT. But after 8 weeks, if you've not received your data, linked on this slide is an ACT contact web form. So again, I just want to say thank you for all your hard work to make this ACT administration successful. And before I move on, I want to check with Shara and see if there are any ACT questions in DAC info.
Kristen, at this time, we do not have any questions in the inbox.
Thank you. So today I'll be providing you with some AKSA updates as well while Krista is out of the office. And so first of all, we have some ACT timeline reminders. So window 2 for AKSA runs from April 15th through May 24th. Districts may choose to end the window earlier than May 24th. The student registration database will open for score entry on April 15th, and the transition attainment record administration ends on May 24th. The last day to enter scores in SRD for the TAR and window 2 is May 31st, and any scores from window 1 makeup will also need to be entered by May 31st. The last day to delete students from SRD is May 31st. And so deleting those students is for students who are no longer meet the eligibility criteria for after an admissions and release committee has met. and determine that the student no longer qualifies for AKSA. A form requesting a student deletion will be sent out in a future Monday DAC email and a special alternate email. If a new student has moved into the district from out of state, you will need to add the student in the SRD. The new student will need to complete both Window 1 and Window 2 assessments. The DAC can request for Window 1 to be open for score entry in the SRD by completing the Window 1 makeup during Window 2 Google form that was sent out in a Monday DAC email on March 18th and April 1st. It is also linked on this slide. If a new student has transferred into your district from another district in Kentucky, please email dacinfo@education.ky.gov with the student's SSID number, district, and the school the student attends, and KDE will transfer the student in SRD. Please do not delete a student from SRD who has moved out of the district and has scores entered for Window 1. If a district has a new teacher or a teacher who will be administering Window 2 who has not previously trained, the teacher will need to complete the admin code, inclusion of special populations, and both attainment task trainings. In order for the teacher to complete the AT quiz, the teacher will need to register in the online training system. In the members area as seen on this slide, it is important that the teacher completes all portions of the registration as the videos will become available based on the grades taught. DACs will need to email KDE to request the quiz be open for the teacher, and as a reminder, teachers must give a copy of their quiz certificates to DACs upon successful completion of the quiz. If a ARC has met and determined a student is eligible for AKSA, the student will need to take both Window 1 and Window 2 during Window 2. If a student is determined to no longer be eligible for the AKSA based on eligibility criteria during an ARC meeting, even if the student has completed Window 1 during fall testing, the student will take the KSA in the spring. The student's record will need to be deleted, and again, that form for you to request a student deletion will be sent out in a future Monday DAC email and special alternate email. Entering scores for Window 2 will be very similar to Window 1 score entry, as you can see on this screen. Prior to entering scores, teachers will be prompted to choose a form number, and once a form number is selected, teachers will be able to enter those scores. As a reminder, all content areas except for science have a field test. For Window 2, the Quality of School Climate and Safety survey will be administered. These scores will be entered on the main student screen as seen on the slide. All scores must be entered into the SRD by the close of business on May 31st. So I believe next I turn this over to my colleague Chris Williams, but first, Shara, are there any AKSA questions?
None at this time.
Thank you. I will now turn it over to Chris.
Thank you, Kristen. Well, I'm Chris Williams, and I'm going to bring today SDRR updates for you. And so let's get started. Spring rosters open in SDRR on April 24th, and that will be, we will be sending out a special DAC email to let you know that it will be open and it's ready for you to start spring rosters. So we're getting excited about that. Also, we put in the DAC email this past Monday just to kind of getting you ready for this to happen, and also giving you a link to the PowerPoint that we did during the February DAC meetings to help you, to assist you with that information. Now, it will remain open until June 12th, and that will close at 5 o'clock. So we will open on the 24th at 9 a.m. and then close on June 12th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And when the rosters are open, you're going to be able to look at your students for alternate AKSA. You will also be looking at your KSA students alternate access, because you know we already had our rosters that were open back in January through February for both access and alternate access. So you will see those students again. And then we'll have post-secondary readiness to be able to put your academic information in. Remember, career data goes always in TEDS, never in SDRR. Also, you'll be able to see your cohort data for your 4-year and 5-year students. And there are going to be several reports in Infinite Campus that you'll see on the next slide that will assist you in making sure that your students are correctly identified in our Infinite Campus before they are pre-populated into SDRR. And if you want, we do want to let you know that you want to make sure that Infinite Campus has all of your students in there by April 19th, because we will be pre-populating your students into SDRR once it opens on the 24th. And so if you've got all of your students in there, make sure all their demographics are in there, make sure they are primary enrolled in your schools and district. Because that's what we pull is primary enrollments from Infinite Campus. You also want to make sure that for your students who have an IEP, making sure that their IEPs are current, that they are marked. Also for your alternate assessment students, your AKSA students, making sure that they are properly identified in Infinite Campus. There are several places that you mark that. One of the places that you will mark that they're an AKSA student is within the IEP itself, but then there's other places to make sure. So another thing is making sure that your IEP is locked, so that way your students will pull over correctly and they will show up in SDRR when it opens. Now, like I said, there are several reports that will help you with this to make sure Infinite Campus is pulling everything correctly. You do have an IEP reports. There are several of those to be able to, you have an extract report, and then you have a special education report to make sure that your students are pulling for special ed education. Also, you have an alternate assessment tracking report in Infinite Campus to make sure that your AKSA students will pull over into SDRR and that they won't show up for KSA. Because if you don't run that report and check it, some of your students, and if you didn't mark it correctly in the IEP in several places in Infinite Campus, then your students could pull over for KSA, which that's not where they should be. So then you would have to do some work where you would have to go into SDRR and you would have to remove them, annotate that they are AKSA, and then you would have to remove them and then add them again to the AKSA roster. So just kind of keeping, you from having to do a lot of work in SDRR, which is not necessary. Please use these reports. Also, there's an English learner extract report for your English learners to make sure that they are they're going to be able to populate correctly. Also, there's a dropout report. There's also your cohort graduation rate report. There's two of those to make sure that your in statuses are correct, and also that to check the G codes, because remember, for cohort, you have to make sure that you do have their enrollments right, because cohort doesn't follow our 100-day rule. Remember, cohort is where you were last enrolled in the district, so that's very important. And one thing to let you know about cohort, it is still open in SDRR, even though it'll open in spring rosters as well. So that's just let you know that any changes you need to make to cohort, you want to go back to Infinite Campus and make sure that is correct. And it also tells you when the next report will, when the next file will be for cohort. And that will be happening in May as well. We'll refresh that again after it opens for spring rosters. And then just making sure that all you're doing, I have a link to each one of these reports to help you, a document. And that's that concludes that particular part. And now we're going to move into some other resources that's going to help you for your work for spring rosters. Because, it is very important that you get the rosters right now, because that way it's less work that you have to do in the fall for data review in August. And then if you get everything correct, then your reporting will be accurate when it comes to in the fall for our public reporting. But some resources that I want to reiterate to make sure to help you with is the I Need Help button. That's when you log into SDRR, that's going to be very important. It goes over lots of important information. It also has all of our assessments. It also has step-by-step instructions, with screencast to help you with the functionality of SDRR. It also has step-by-step instructions of how to mark accommodations, how to change your 100-day entity, how to request non-participations, etc. on your student listings. Also, there will be the 100-day tool that will help you if you need any assistance with the 100-day entity for your student listings. There's a 100-day tool that you can look through. There's also the 100-day quiz that you can take that's anonymous, that, just to check your knowledge to see with the different scenarios and see how much you know about the 100-day. Also, we have the cohort tool that will also help you when it comes to cohort. And then another important resource is the Sandbox, and that's for you as the district to be able to go in and not in the live version of SDRR and be able to see check out some of the functionalities of SDRR without having to be in the live version of it. And then, like I said, we will have sessions that we're going to have for you as a district and school level users on the SDRR function. So we are excited to bring this to you this year, the SDRR, what we call SDRR Hot Topic Office Hours. And so with those hot topics, because, we do have those that we get lots of questions during spring rosters. And so we just want to provide you, to remind you about these important office hours. The first one will be coming to you on April the 16th. And that will be SDRR resources, where to get assistance and how to help you. And that's for all of our SDRR users. And that'll happen, each one of these will happen 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then the next one will be on April 23rd, and that'll get you ready for spring roster task list and ticket listing, how to do your tickets correctly in SDRR. So we're excited to bring you some information on that. And then that also tells you who your audience is as well. That'll be for all of our DACs and BACs who will be working in SDRR. Then we have the do's and don'ts of requesting non-participations, because we do have people who need just a little bit more assistance when it comes to uploading your non-participations in SDRR once you've got the form filled out. So we'll be doing some of those do's and don'ts of that. And that'll be all of our SDRR users, and that'll happen on April 30th. Then we will go into determining a 100-day accountability. So rules and tools to help you for that. If you need some help, again, for 100-day, for your 100-day entity on your student listings. That will be May 7th, and that's for all of our SDRR users. And then our last one is going to happen on May 14th, and that's for all of our SDRR users as well. And that's digging into demographics. Also checking Infinite Campus values, and also what you'll have to do in Infinite Campus with our demographics, and what you can do in SDRR with the functionalities for our demographics. And then all of this, probably saying, well, Chris, where can I find, the logins to this information? Well, I have a note here and a link to you. to put that in the SDRR February DAC training PowerPoint that you've reviewed back before you came to the Q&A sessions back in February. So for each of those office hours, there's login information for you, and you can go back to that to be able to get that. Hey, well, that ends that particular session. Cher, are there any questions so far on SDRR?
Yes, we do. We have one. I have 3 students who are being evaluated for special education. Their new IEP will not be completed by April 19. I will just put in their accommodations by hand into PAN, correct?
Okay, so in Pearson Access Next, you would have to put their accommodations in that. And then, of course, for rosters for SDRR, you would want to make sure that, that they're in the roster system when SDRR opens, that it does show that they do have a IEP. And if it does show that they have an IEP, you'll be able to mark either yes or no for accommodations. So that's what you'll do in both systems.
And then we had one other email to come in is saying that our IC link is not working properly. We will take a look at that and we will get that corrected. We post it to the website.
Okay. And also, like I said, the important resource, was from the February DAC training. There was also a PowerPoint video to go along with that. So if you want to review that beforehand, also don't forget to go over the resources in SDRR underneath the I Need Help. And then also make sure to use those reports in Infinite Campus to make sure your data goes correctly. Now, we're going to move into the next topic, which is access and WIDA alternate access updates. So we have finished, so we completed our access testing back in February for our access for ELLs and also our WIDA alternate access. We completed that assessment. And then we've shipped all of our materials back, and we just completed back in March was our access data validation for our ELs, the demographics, so that way, your demographics would be coming over correctly when you get to our next topic, which is about reports. And you're going to receive those reports for access for ELLs on April the 26th. Those will be online in WIDA Assessment Management System, which is WIDA AMS. You will also get printed reports to your district on May 8th for access. Now, I do have some important resources for you to help you with the school reports. We have the Access for ELLs Reports webpage that will have lots of information for you. It'll also have information to remind you about the interpretive guide for school reports. It'll also have information that, there are parent letters that you can attach to the reports when you get those and print those out and are getting ready to send those to parents. And those parent letters are translated in 47 languages already to accompany your school reports. Also, though, there are parent guides, report guides that explain what the school reports are. And then also underneath webinars, when you go to the WIDA Secure portal, you'll be able to get to all of these resources with the parent letters, with the parent guides, and then also get to the webinars. So underneath webinars, underneath the WIDA Secure portal, WIDA had done a webinar on March 12th that we sent out in the Monday DAC email to get you ready for that of interpreting school reports. So if you have not taken advantage of that, please make sure to do that before your school reports become available to you on April the 26th. That's always important to make sure that your reports are correct. That's the reason why we had our data validation. And then once you get your reports, we will also have another data validation as well that we will do as at the state. So if there's some issues that you're seeing with your reports, you can contact me and I'd be more glad to help you with that. Now, I do want to talk about the WIDA alternate access report reminders because we sent out several reminders and resources about this, that those reports will be delayed this year till fall. And the reason that we're delaying that to the fall is because we're having a standard setting in July for our WIDA alternate assessment. And so those we did want to let you know way ahead of time that those reports would be delayed because of that. And so you won't receive your WIDA alternate access reports until September the 11th in WIDA AMS. And then those reports will be shipped to your district on September 26th. So, and then we will have resources that will be available to you as it gets closer to fall to, we'll have, just like I did have for access, we'll have a webinar over the reports. We'll also have all kinds of parent letters too and guides to help you, as well as interpretive guide to assist you with that this fall. So just wanted to kind of remind you about that because I know there's been several emails that have been going out in the Money DAC email about this, but just wanted to make sure to bring you this live too on the DAC Webcast. So that concludes the WIDA access and alternate access. Shara, do we have any questions?
Yes, we have one more that's come in. It's a two-part question.
Okay.
Is cohort part of spring rosters, or is it in SDRR to see data and make corrections in IC to fix known issues?
Okay, so cohort is, like I said, it was available, back starting in, I believe it was February, we had it open for cohort. And it will close down and then it will open back up again in spring rosters. And so you will see your cohort data again. It also lets you know that that when it will be next updated, the information that's in there. So you'll be able to see that information about cohort. But what you're going to do for cohort is that you won't be able to go into SDR and make those changes. You'll want to go back into Infinite Campus and do that as well. And then, like I said, cohort is usually open each year for a long period of time to allow you to go in and make sure that information is correct as well. And then, like I said, you'll see it during spring rosters for both 4-year and 5-year. Sharon, are there any other questions come in at this time?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
When should we expect WIDA access scores?
Okay, so let me go back to the slide and remind you again, that's April the 26th will be the first time you'll be able to see it online in WIDA AMS. So you will have to have your login to WIDA AMS to be able to see them online. Score reports, you will, as a district assessment coordinator, you will also get an email from DRC, which is Data Recognition Corporation for those people who are new to this, that they will send an email and letting you have more information to you about where to get those reports in WIDA AMS. And then, like I said, your printed reports will be shipped to you on May 8th. Sharon, do we have any other additional questions?
Not at this time.
Okay, well, I'm going to turn it over to my wonderful colleague, Lisa, who's going to bring you some K-Screen training for you, updates.
Thank you, Chris. Good morning, everyone.
With K-Screen ordering underway, it's time to start thinking about K-Screen training. Curriculum Associates and the Kentucky Department of Education will be presenting the first of 3 Train the Trainer events on April 24th. This will be an all-day virtual training required for any new trainers that will need to train others in the district to implement the K-Screen. Participants can register using the link provided on this slide. Registration will close at the close of business on April 19th. Information concerning the training, including the link, will be sent out to participants via email on April 22nd. If you cannot attend April's Train the Trainer event, an in-person training is being offered in July, followed by another virtual training in August, which will be split over 2 afternoons. Details concerning these trainings will be presented in upcoming Monday DAC emails and K-Screen updates. On Monday, April 15th, beginning at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Time, the Office of Assessment and Accountability, along with members of Curriculum Associates, will host an office hour centered around the K-Screen refresh training. Together, the Office of Assessment and Accountability and Curriculum Associates will be on hand to offer guidance on preparing for the upcoming screening window. You can join us using the Microsoft Teams link provided on this slide, and we hope to see you there. Before I turn it over to Melissa, let's check in with Shara to see if we have any questions concerning K-Screen.
Lisa, we do not have any questions regarding K-Screen at this time.
Thank you, Shara. Melissa?
Thanks, Lisa, and happy Thursday, everyone. I know all of our DACs and BACs are busy right now working on preparation tasks for KSA. And in preparing for KSA, I just wanted to provide a bit of information about site visits that will take place during the assessment windows. So now that district testing windows have been established in SDRR, OAA will begin planning for site visits. So for 2024, OAA will conduct both in-person and virtual visits. And as a reminder, sites are selected both purposefully and at random for each region. I've linked the assessment support forms webpage here on this slide. And on that page, you'll be able to access the KSA and AKSA site visit survey questions, so you'll know exactly what will be asked in a visit. Now, if your district has been visited in the past, you have a pretty good idea of what to expect, but if not, I'll share some information here that may be helpful. If your school is selected for an in-person visit, the DAC will receive a phone call about 30 minutes in advance of our team arriving. And if your school is selected for a virtual visit, that will be conducted via a Microsoft Teams meeting, and it will be scheduled in advance with the DAC or BAC. Now, during both the in-person and the virtual site visits, OAA will interview school staff. The school staff should include the BAC, but it could also include the DAC and a school administrator if they are available. And during the interview, we'll just ask some questions from that KSA, AKSA site visit survey form, and we'll ask for the documentation that's listed on that form, which includes the testing schedule, an example of a seating chart, and the good faith effort checklist if your school uses those. The information that we collect during the interview will be documented during the visit, and then that documentation will be compiled and retained here at KDE for reporting and auditing purposes. So hopefully that relieves any concerns about site visits. I know that we definitely look forward to coming to visit the schools and seeing all the good things that are happening in your buildings. So we'll see you in the next month or so. Shara, I don't know if any questions rolled in during my time, but I'm happy to answer those if so.
No, at this time, we do not have any questions.
Okay.
Well, thank you to all of our presenters. Thanks to Kristen, to Chris, to Lisa, and to Melissa. I appreciate all of the information that you were able to share this morning. We did want to mention that the May DAC Webcast is canceled. We will be in testing mode at that point, and I'm sure that you each will be focused on testing or preparing for testing, if not administering the test or returning those paper materials. So the May monthly DAC webcast is canceled. So we plan to see you back here in June 13th at 11 a.m. And Shara, do you have any questions that have come in before we sign out?
Yes, I do have one question that's come in, and that you may be able to answer this one. I know this is not a topic on the agenda, but after working with one of my schools today, the question is the accountability calculator from fall 2024 that includes the change factor a reliable goal-setting tool for our schools to use?
So they're asking about the calculator that was released last year with the accountability. That calculator is a calculator that can be used for various situations. We have released those calculators so that people can see different situations, how many students that are needed to get to a certain level. With the fact that accountability, and I'm going to hold on to the table that I'm sitting at right now, it is looking like it's not going to change this year. That would be a fairly reliable calculator to use for your what if situations. Now, I wouldn't totally rely on it as completely to give you the perfect, because there may be some tweaks that we make to it and advance and enhance the calculator, because we're always looking to improve our processes and our products, and the calculator is one that we know is important, so we want to keep that up to date and as accurate as possible. So yes, I would say that would give you some fairly reliable results to go ahead and use that, but again, we are always trying to enhance those, and with our data side, we'll always look to them for updates and releasing new things, new accountability tools of that nature. So yes, I think that would be a reasonable calculator to use. And I'll keep my fingers crossed that we haven't jinxed ourselves with the accountability changing. So, Shara, any other questions?
Not at this time.
Okay. So, well, we thank you very much for your time and attention. If you got to take spring break off last week, if you're on spring break this week and watching the recording, we hope that you are rested, rejuvenated, and ready for spring testing in our state. So thank you so much for all that you do. Thanks for the focus that you put on our students every day. Until we see you back here in June, please stay safe and stay healthy.